Gotta love Connecticut hockey had the chance to sit down with John Gardner, head coach of the Avon Old Farms boys varsity ice hockey team. Over 40 seasons at Avon, Gardner has seen many of his players go on to play professionally, and this past season, he passed his 700th career win, making him the all-time winningest hockey coach in prep school history. Let's meet the coach. In your school days back at Wesleyan, you were actually, I believe, the first varsity goalkeeper that they ever had.
Yeah, they started the varsity program my sophomore year. I guess you could say I was the first goalie at Wesleyan.
When you came to Avon, they wanted you to coach baseball originally, correct?
Actually, I was hired as a hockey coach, but I came in the spring in 1975, and I coached baseball, because I played baseball in college. At prep schools, you're usually a triple threat, so you taught class, you work in the dormitory, and I coached 3 sports, and I was a football player too, so you coach football, hockey, and baseball. When
you start really trying to get everything together here and create a program, how do you say I'm going to come in and kind of really get down and get to know these kids?
Good coaches make good players, and so you got to get good kids to come to your school. Hopefully you got good kids that are good players.
It's been 40 years now. I mean, a lot has changed. You don't have the mustache anymore. How do you grow with the times, and how do your coaching techniques change?
You got to change. You recognize who you're talking to, who the athletes are, how they should be treated. When you work with teenage boys, you're aware of what their world is, because this is a boarding environment. You get to know the boys really well. You sort of remain young by being around with young people. I know what's going on, I think.
You guys picked up the first title here in 88 and 89, I think. Now that's 8 titles in 25 years. Can you look at a specific attribute, perhaps, or an element that can make really the guys a champion and that you tried to instill?
You have to work hard. You have to have a great work ethic, and you have to be a good teammate. And if you can mold a team, or the team comes together and you have good leadership within the team, you put that together, and the work ethic, and kids that really want to succeed and that are motivated to excel, and they set their goals and they try to reach them.
What role do the rivals play in really building a program?
I think we want to beat everybody, and I know everybody wants to beat us, and if you're at the top for a while, they really use a target on you. And good competition will bring out the best in athletes.
Who would you point to as being your biggest rival, or maybe somebody that you have to recruit against or really go tooth and nail, head to toe with?
Salisbury's been at the top lately for the last couple of years, and they're certainly a rival because they're a boys' school. And then you got the local schools like Westminster and Loomis, Choate and Deerfield, and so there's a lot of good rivalries.
Can you please tell me the first player that you can remember going pro and what that experience was really like for you?
Brian Leetch was the first guy that I think that came out of our program that went to the NHL. Coaching Brian was just so much fun. Every time Leetch would get the puck, if we were having a little scrimmage in practice, it was one of those things, ooh, I wonder what he's going to do now with the puck. If you were a forward and you were going out there, you wanted to be going out when Brian Leetch was playing defense, because guess what? Go to the net, put your stick on the ice, and you're probably going to score. That's how good he was. What
kind of pride did you have after he was all done and said and really put together such a Hall of Fame career?
As a coach, you obviously take pride in their accomplishments. You watch them, you follow them, and see what they're doing, because you have a relationship with them and you get to know them, and you want to see them succeed. To see Brian eventually bring the cup to New York City, that was a great experience.
You bring up that Brian had the cup with the Rangers in '94, but you also look at Jonathan Quick's success. So have you been able to create some kind of moments with the cup?
Quickie had a party down in Greenwich with a cup. It was a great party.
What about with Quick? Did you share a certain kinship with him because of the fact that you were also a goalie yourself?
Yeah, but I didn't teach him anything about playing goal. I just told him work from the ice up, and Quick was such a great competitor that when he left Avon and went to University of Massachusetts, I knew he'd be a really good goalie. Did I know he'd win a couple Stanley Cups? Of course not.
There's more to that. There's Cam Atkinson, there's Nick Bonino. You've had your share of guys. Is there a certain quality or maybe an attitude that these guys have that maybe other players don't?
They're all different, but they're all motivated. Cam Atkinson played with Nick Bonino when he was here, but they're totally different players. Atkinson was so fast and created so much space, and Nick Bonino had such great hands and vision. Atkinson gave Nick room to operate, and it was a great combination.
You don't do it by yourself. You have yourself a great staff. You have, I believe, Brian Doyle, Bill Maniscalco, and Leon Hayward. What are you looking for in some of the assistant coaches, and what kind of input do you look to them to provide?
I like surrounding myself with really good people, good hockey people, and people that we can have a great discussion on certain aspects of hockey. And you know, their job, they know, is to try to make the team and the players better. You get all those guys helping you and all that knowledge that they have. What you want to do is have them impart that knowledge to the players.
Can you remember a moment in one of those 8 championship runs where you kind of felt everything click?
I think it was 2000 when we won. We struggled in as like the 8th seed, and then all of a sudden we put this line together and just took off. It was Chris Higgins and Horvath and Billy Magnuson. We put them together and then we just went on a roll.
Coach has his 708th victory that he won earlier this year. Please describe what the accomplishment means and how it feels.
It feels good. As a coach, you're trying to win games. The number isn't important. It really isn't. It's the fact that everybody that comes here has a good experience in playing hockey for Avon Old Farms.
And what makes Avon Old Farms such a great place to play, and not only that, a place to attend and go to school?
We have a really strong academic and athletic program, and I think in particular that the students really like coming to the hockey games, and so you get that support from the Avon family.
You're also the associate headmaster here. Yep. What's that day-to-day gig like, and how do you balance it with the hockey stuff?
I like my job. I like working with the kids. I taught for a long time in the classroom. I like going to lunch and having lunch with them and talking to them. And at times I'm in charge of the discipline in the school, so I have to be the bad guy. And I've been the bad guy many times, so it doesn't bother me, and I can get through it. But I try to communicate with the students each day and provide leadership for them and try to be a good role model and have fun.
There's going to be kids that are looking at this program and they want to know, how do I get to the big time NEPSAC league? How do I play for a Founders program like yours? What kind of advice can you give them?
Here's my personal view. I know that there's specialization. People are playing hockey year-round, but I think you got to shut down for a while. And all the best athletes that I ever had at Avon, all the guys that went on to be pro hockey players, they all were multiple sport athletes. You should play another sport just for a change. It'll help you as a hockey player. And the other thing is to have fun while you're doing it. If it's not fun and you don't enjoy the game, then don't play. I mean, most hockey players are really passionate.
Starting in '75 and now in your 40th year, can you tell us about some things that have changed throughout the past 40 years?
Well, recruiting has gotten a lot more sophisticated. Obviously, the equipment has improved tremendously. If you were a goalie in the old days, the puck hits you in certain areas, it hurt. I remember the old leather helmets without face masks, and then Dr. Castaldi, the guy at UConn, really pushed the face mask to save the teeth. The game is much faster, it's more skilled, it's better played. Everybody's a pretty good skater now, but it's still hockey. The rules are essentially the same. Is
there a guy on the current squad that you could see having an NHL career?
We have some pretty talented kids. One of them is from Connecticut, Patrick Harper, who was committed to Boston University. Despite his relatively modest size, he could go somewhere. Cam Atkinson wasn't a big guy, and they were all like, well, he's too small to play in the NHL. And obviously, he's not too small to play in the NHL. I got a big kid from Rhode Island, Jamie Armstrong, whose dad played, and he's got a lot of potential. But you never know. I mean, sometimes they just keep on developing, and other times kids come out of the blue and surprise you.
When you're looking in the immediate term and you're trying to graduate kids to play at either college or move on, what can you kind of really provide for advice to those kids?
My advice is go where you wanted, go where you can play, go where you can get, obviously, a great education. And the one thing I usually tell them is, if you took hockey out of the equation, would you still like going to that school? They may want you for hockey, but you know, you're one injury away from ending your hockey career, or sometimes you're not as good as you think you are. But go where they want you, go where you can get a great education.
Is there anything else you can provide for the kids and parents that are out there?
Enjoy the experience of having your kids play the game, and let them enjoy it.